This was the people's goodbye for their princess, and they said it with flowers. All along the route the hearse was showered, a procession no official had orchestrated, no tradition had prescribed, one for Diana alone. There was silence save for applause as the hearse nudged its way through the banks of mourners. At times it came to a near halt through pressure from those waiting to glimpse it, almost from the sheer weight of bouquets. Far away from the royal palaces now, the princess was passing right through the heart of London's suburbs, right to the heart of the crowds. And as the procession drew away from the capital, the mourners never diminished, nor did the garlands and wreaths. Westminster Abbey may have said goodbye to royalty before, but Hendon has never had the chance. Turning towards the M1 at Brent Cross, London's crowds were preparing to let their princess go, back to her childhood home in the country, 50 miles north. Here still thousands came, a royal cortege on a motorway slip road surrounded by families stacked up the banks and bridges. In life, Diana had touched unlikely and unloved places. Today in death, in an unremarkable urban landscape, she did the same. On the M1, unable to see any longer, some flowers were removed from the windscreen before the hearse, now flanked by police, moved on. But still on the motorway there was more. More flowers and more mourners, snaking forward off the hard shoulder and pressing onto the carriageway as traffic on the southbound section stood still. This was a scene repeated for 50 miles. Diana, Princess of Wales, was without her family on this section of her final journey northward, but the people were with her every step of the way. Penny Marshall, ITN.
Far from London, in the heart of England, the princess's cortege began the final stage of a long journey. It left the motorway near the town of Northampton, following a route to the ancestral Spencer home, a route Diana herself had taken many times. After swifter progress along the M1, the procession slowed here, once again travelling steadily along streets lined with thousands of people who turned out after watching the funeral on television. And this is the last part of the route to Althorp, through villages in Northamptonshire where Diana is still remembered as a young girl who came home for the holidays. Now she's being welcomed back for the last time.
She's very special to us here. She'll always hold a special place in our hearts. She was special to millions of people across the world, but here in Northamptonshire is her place, and we're here to welcome her home today.
I appreciate Princess Diana, so I'm going to see if I can get these flowers on the car.
You're going to throw them on the car?
Yeah, or either on the car or under.
And so he did, one 9-year-old's tribute to someone very special. And he was one of many. The flowers rained on Diana, and there was gentle applause as she was carried on her way. The grandeur of London, its palaces and Westminster Abbey, seemed far away now. In these country lanes there was a tranquility, a sense of journey's end. And so the princess's body arrived at Althorp Park for an intensely private burial on an island set in a lake. No place inside for anyone except her sons and other close family members who'd arrived without fuss earlier. It was a ceremony at last, away from the relentless attention that had so dominated Diana's life. Tim Ewart, ITN, at Althorp in Northamptonshire.
They say it's what Diana would have wanted. Something thoughtful and spectacular spread out before the gates of her London home. And today the crowds were still flooding in. The numbers are the biggest yet recorded here. After a week of mourning, Kensington Palace has become the focal point of Britain's grief. Nearby, there are queues to sign the books of condolence, now in the apartments of Kensington Palace. They'll stay open day and night. It's planned to close them on September the 15th. After writing in the books, most are then drawn to the gardens and the throng within them. What had started here in the early hours of last Sunday morning, with a few bouquets laid at the palace gates, has transformed itself into the world's most powerful visual display, expressing grief over Diana's death. There is an atmosphere of quiet, sad reflection. And the sort of questions asked by so many children this week. Why can't our flowers be delivered to Diana in person, this boy asks.
She's going to deliver them to herself.
Everyone is moved by the display of flowers.
It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. But I think it's fitting. It's fitting.
What would you like to see happen to this extraordinary display?
I'd love to see all the lovely cards saved and saved somewhere for the history of this country.
And they will be. A Buckingham Palace official says every message, and there are way in excess of 1 million of them outside the royal palaces, will be collected and stored until the Spencer family decide how they should be preserved. The flowers will be passed on to old folk, children and hospitals. An assurance tonight of some comfort to the crowds still streaming into this place of remembrance. Andrew Simmons, ITN, Kensington Palace.